So I just got another false copyright takedown notice issued to me, and no, this time it's not from Midnight Works. Turns out I've managed to pee off another publisher with one of my videos, and I'll give you a moment to try and guess who it was this time. But before I get into what they said, if you haven't watched my video on the takedown notice I got from Midnight Works, you'll find it linked down below alongside my dedicated video on the scumbags. And if you want to know why they've got such a hard on for me, I recommend checking out my Scam Games playlist. Now when it comes to this copyright takedown notice, once again YouTube sided with me, and for good reason. You see, just like Midnight Works, Max Interactive Studio attempted a copyright takedown without having a valid argument by which to do so, and I don't know whether these guys just don't understand how copyright protection works or if they're just plain stupid, but you'd think they'd at least do a little bit of research first. So the video in question is my recent video on the release of the game Ace Robot Combat, and in that video I covered a little bit about the game and what you can likely expect from it, but it's more about warning people about the publisher's dodgy asset flipping shenanigans. Now this clearly ruffled the feathers, and they decided to submit a copyright takedown notice to YouTube, with the initial request stating that I used the content from 32 seconds into the video all the way to 4 minutes 20. And bear in mind that the video is only 5 minutes long in total, and the trailer is about 1 minute 30 seconds. YouTube then requested more information, where they then changed their mind, saying that I used the copyrighted content from 2 minutes 50 to 3 minutes 30, with multiple parts and random clips infringed, and they cited the copyrighted sources as being both the YouTube trailer and the Nintendo Switch eShop listing for the game. Finally, after YouTube requested yet more information, Max Ong, who I presume is the CEO or something, goes on a big old rant about how the content I used didn't fall under fair use, but he clearly didn't understand what he was talking about. Now, YouTube had thrown a bunch of questions at him that he clearly felt obliged to respond to. For the purpose and character of use question, he said that clips from the trailer were quoted verbatim, without any transformative elements, reflecting my opinions, biased view, and lack of proper and fair context, instead of me buying the actual software and doing a thorough and fair review on it. Well, to that, Max, I say that although I didn't buy your software, I did transform your trailers by chopping the fuck out of them, and the video wasn't technically a review. You see, there's something called clickbait on YouTube, Max, and I fully admit to using clickbait and sticking the word review in the title of the video to coax people into watching it, but I knew that people would be searching for reviews and hoped that they wouldn't mind after discovering it wasn't a review and that I'd baited them in after they watched the video. I also have to say that having an opinion isn't illegal, and that in my opinion, the context was in fact proper and fair, as you've flipped assets before for your games, and it was my honest and fair opinion that you might have done it again for Ace Robot Combat. Now, on the matter of the nature of the copyrighted work, I have no idea what the fuck he was going on about here, but he said that the content, i.e. the trailer, was classed as creative works and thus does not qualify for fair use. I presume that you were talking about how using material from primarily factual works is more likely to be classed as fair use, the keywords being more likely, specifically when judged on in a court of law. Finally, Max commented on the effect on the market for the original, and here he said that if the use of the copyrighted material spreads misinformation or harms the Maxis company's reputation, adversely affecting the market for the original work, it may weigh against fair use. However, it's my understanding that this aspect of the 4 factors of fair use applies specifically to the original copyrighted work that you're claiming against, so the trailers and not the game itself. And since you're not profiting from the trailer, I don't think that this rule actually applies here, Max. Now, Max also used an analogy in his email to YouTube, likening my use of his works to someone copying part of a CNN news clip and integrating it into a personal YouTube video, which he claims is a practice not permitted by YouTube's guidelines. But in the same breath, he also asks YouTube whether they permit it, and of course they permit it if it falls under what they believe to be fair use. If CNN turned around and threw a court case at someone for using the footage, it would then be the judge who decides whether or not it was fair use. It's really not a difficult concept to understand. Now, the last point that I want to bring up is that, being the humble soul that he is, Max states that he understands and respects user-generated content and would be fine if the user-generated content came from a screen capture from the Nintendo Switch device. Well, Max, I hate to tell you, brother, but your trailers are all integrated into the Nintendo Switch eShop listing for the game, so where do you think that I got them from? Now, it seems to me to be another case of a publisher being pissed off that I badmouthed them and made them look bad by exposing the shady practices, but in the video I even say that I'm not explicitly saying that people shouldn't buy the game, I'm just giving them a heads up on Max Interactive Studios' track record of flipping assets. So Max, let's talk man to Max here for a second. You can't just go throwing out copyright takedown requests just because you don't like what someone says about you or don't like the content they're making. I don't like the games that you're making, but I can't just go crying to Nintendo and ask them to take them down because they'll just tell me to go fuck myself. And here's the irony of it all. If you weren't putting out the shitty asset flips, I wouldn't be making content on them. So the solution is simple. Stop buying pre-built games from assets to publish as your shitty games and trying to con people into thinking that they're fully fledged titles, and I'll stop making content on them. That's a win-win situation from where I'm standing. But Max, I'll tell you what I told Midnight Works. You keep trying to come for me and I'll tear your whole back catalogue a new arsehole. So far I've left you alone and only covered 2 of your games, but there's plenty more fair use left in the tank. With that though, Max, I do hope you have a fruitful day, and if you want me to educate you properly on what constitutes as fair use, you can always email me directly by subscribing to the channel and heading over to the About page where you'll find my contact details. For now though, I do hope everyone enjoyed this one, and if you did, give it a thumbs up, let Max know you care about him in the comments section below, and subscribe to the channel for more fair use Nintendo Switch content. But until next time, thanks once again for watching, take care of yourselves, and game on.